Deputization. I'd like to ask, what are the positives and potential issues with cross-deputization? I know it's been kind of an issue in this campaign, so you might address that.
Cross-deputization has been an issue. Ever since I became undersheriff, we've been approached several times by the different tribal agencies within this county. We have several tribal agencies. We've had mutual aid agreement with one of the tribal agencies in the past. We've had issues with just the mutual aid agreement. Basically led up to communication problem. One of the issues that I have had a problem with in the past is once we enter into an agreement with the tribal agency, we are bound by giving them a commission card. And the sheriff signs that commission card. Once he does that, he is liable for that individual. So if he goes out and violates anybody's civil rights, they are going to come back and sue the county and sue the sheriff. Anybody can be sued. It's my understanding, and this is just from what I have read, that the tribal agencies cannot be sued unless they agree to that lawsuit. Yes, it would put more boots on the ground, but I feel, as sheriff, that it would, putting boots on the ground outweighs the liability issues of being sued. We would have to, the agreement with that, we haven't had the control of who they hire. We haven't had the control of their policies. So those become issues. The way it sits now, one of the tribal agencies, they cover quite a bit of our county because they go one end to the other. Whenever we have cows out, for example, or if we have a car wreck and we need assistance for traffic control or helping put up livestock, it hasn't been an issue in the past, and they've assisted us. The governor just signed in the law just a couple of weeks ago, I believe, where the tribal agencies are CLEAT certified and BI certified. They have the authority to arrest non-tribal on tribal land. Therefore, I don't see the need in cross-commissioning. I believe that's it.
Well, I disagree with all that. Number one, in reference, let's talk about the lawsuits and the liability of the Sheriff's Department. In the contract, in the agreement, it has a special clause, limited waiver of sovereign immunity. It releases the county from that liability. So if that tribal nation officer violates somebody else's rights, they will be sued and the nation will be sued. So that don't bring any liability. And people can shake their heads no at me right now, but that is the truth because I wrote them. Now, another thing is, it will allow us to basically use $1.3 million worth of assets here in the county. It also allows us the opportunity to work with the tribal nations in order to receive further funding from the federal government. That way we can share resources. It also allows me to use those 18 extra deputies out there in the county. They're not going to be used in the city limits of Ponca. They're not going to be going out there and writing citations. They're not going to be doing none of that. And as the ability where the sheriff does have that authority of who's hired, yes, he does. You get to determine who gets to carry that commission card. And now tribal law enforcement officers go through 2 background checks, one federal, one state. They go through more training than our state officers do. So we're getting a better quality of officers. So either which way, it benefits this county 110%. And I currently, for the past 10 years, have worked underneath the cross-deputization agreement over there in Osage County. And it works very well. Just in the recent case of 2 murders that took place. The crimes took place out in the county, and the evidence and the body was found on restricted land. And if we didn't have that cross-deputization agreement, we would have lost that evidence, and those people would have walked. And that's what we need to eliminate from right here. And I'm going to do that as your next sheriff. Thank you.
Pros and cons. The pros, obviously, is there's going to be more officers in the field, more officers in the rural area, which is definitely a plus. Obviously, there's only so many deputies to be in the 944 square miles of K County. I think that's a good situation. However, the cons, I didn't hire them as sheriff. I'm not aware of their training. I didn't do their backgrounds. I know it's been said that, you know, the cleat hours and things like that, but I still think as sheriff, you need to not rule it out. I think you need to sit down with the tribal law enforcement, the chief of police, and visit with them and see what we can do. Obviously, my opening statement was we all have to work together. We're all in this community. We're all in this county. I think that sometimes we're too quickly to say, well, it didn't work back then and we're not going to do it today. I think we all need to sit down and see what we can do. I think there's some positive things that can come out of it. I know there's negative and positive, that's why they call it pros and cons, but I'm not going to rule it out, but I'm not going to say that we're going to do it. I think that everybody needs to, there's still some House bills that haven't been signed that I think are going to eliminate some of the issues, pros and cons. And I think that once all that's said, if it is going to pass or isn't going to pass, then I think that's when we all need to sit down and figure it out, because it has to be for the good of the whole county, and everybody wants to be protected from liability.